All right. Good afternoon, everybody, and what a day of cricket at Sydney for the fifth test, day two. Day two, actually. It felt like it was day four. And incidentally, this is the last test match. Maybe it is the last day of the test series tomorrow. What maybe? I think 900% of the situations, it's going to be the last day. Yes, Pranav. So, yeah, again, tumultuous day. A lot happened. Too many wickets, some runs here and there, and some fast runs as well from our man behind here, Rishabh Pant. So we will discuss quite a lot. There are some off-field discussion points as well that we need to discuss on. Having said that, over to Shashank Dada on the summary of the day one,
Day one or day two?
day two. Sorry.
Okay. So actually, it was a proper roller coaster. I had a, I was told that the maximum thrilling roller coaster is in Abu Dhabi. I had been there, but it was more than that. I will not be surprised if I read tomorrow in newspaper few weak-hearted people getting heart attacks. It was so so it was so much thrilling for the sake of game, but for the
Yeah.
sake of quality, I think I'm little bit dismooded or I'm not happy because I personally feel that today we saw 1 plus 10 plus 6, so 17 wickets we saw, and the pitch was not worth of 17 wickets in a day. I remember in old days there was one day in Ahmedabad such wickets have been taken, and total ICC had come very strongly saying that the pitch is not good and you discard that Ahmedabad wicket. Now nobody is talking of that for the simple reason we have seen all the dismissals, we have seen the bowling, we have seen the batting. Again, including Australia. I'm not blaming India, but India and Australia together. If you analyze the wickets, out of 17, I can only count two or three wickets which I can give credit to the bowler. Rest all are in tennis parlance, unforced errors.
Yeah. Yes. So we'll come to that, Shashank Dada. Now let's start with the first session. I think after the last ball wicket yesterday of Bumrah and the death stare that Constas got, Constas to his true character did start off well with a couple of unorthodox shots, but then that did not last too much, and it was a plain easy catch to Siraj. So Sagar, any points on that? How did the Australians approach, and did it give any cues to you of how India might approach if India is to bat today?
Well, see, if you look at Australians' innings, there are only two batsmen who scored about 30 runs. That is Webster
Mm-hmm.
and Steve Smith. Apart from that, there was no such major contribution. But the best
Mm.
part was a new batsman, Webster. He scored 57 runs. But that
Yeah.
itself amuses me because any new batsman coming in always finds it easy to score against our bowlers. All right. They had that middle order. I mean, I'm being very honest. This is true for most of the newcomers who come in. I mean, take it Constance or for that matter Webster. Both of them have scored more than 50 runs. Okay. So I wouldn't say that our bowlers were clueless, but then again, we really need to think on how to get them out as soon as possible. Also, thankfully, the tail did not wag. So as I see, I mean, take it Australia or India, batting on both the sides has been mediocre, to be honest, in the first innings. But then our bowlers bowled really well in clusters and they hunted in pairs. If you check the bowling stats, it was not only Bumrah who took wickets, it was Siraj, it was Prasid, it was Ritesh Reddy. All of them took almost two to three wickets. So yeah, I mean, I would say we did our best when it comes to bowling, but then batting is something which really disappointed, I would say.
Yeah, so also the approach, right? Now, Pranav, I'll come to you. Also, the approach in which the Australians played, right? I think in the first innings when we batted, we were very circumspect. Even the likes of Rishabh Pant played a very slow innings compared to his stature. However, maybe it was the need of the first day wicket. But if you see the approach by the Australians in the second innings, they did go for their shots, right? What do you think? What was the approach with Smith and Webster at the middle? Did it give any cue to the Indians that, when we have a chance to bat with the wickets falling consistently at a regular interval, it's better to go for the runs from the word go, and that's what it seems Indians started off with. What are your views, Pranav, on that?
I think, first of all, if you look at the performance yesterday versus what we have today, we've been better.
Hmm.
But what Australians gave to us is, with their batting, is a clue that if you unsettle the bowler's rhythm, you will get runs. And that is what Rishabh Pant showed, and that is what Jaiswal showed. The problem with our batting is that we have gifted too many wickets, and I think in both innings that has been the key problem. I can point out Shubman Gill's both innings dismissals,
Absolutely.
KL Rahul's both innings dismissals, Virat Kohli's as usual. I mean, it's now become a song that's being played in our background that you just keep playing it, and you just keep a bowling machine and put it outside off stump, you'll still edge it. So
Correct.
it has become like that. Pant, I'll not fault him because his innings at a strike rate of 200 is what we have a lead of 145. Otherwise, it would have been
Absolutely.
84 for 6. Um, then Nitish Kumar Reddy. So out of the 6 wickets fell except Jaiswal and Pant. The other 4 wickets were gifts, and that is where I have a
Absolutely.
problem. So,
Okay.
um, in case of
or else
Australia,
we or else we would have been somewhere in a better position with
better
maybe
position, yeah,
141 for 3 or 2, maybe, who knows,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah, 100%. So, as Shashank Dada rightly mentioned, in terms of Australian batting, I think the way the other bowlers stepped up was very heartening to see because I never expected them to be actually picking wickets among themselves. But at the same time, I'm pretty disappointed at what happened because 39 for 4, you still allow them to get to 181. That's not right because I know it's an inexperienced bowling lineup after Bumrah left the field due to a back spasm. But when you have them at the box, 39 for 4, imagine if you have all, got them out at less than 100 runs or even 110 runs.
Hmm.
35 more from here would have looked very different, right? That would have added a little more pressure. So, seizing crucial moments is something that India has missed both with the bat and the ball through the entire series, except Perth, because there was a lot of help. But having said that, this pitch is still difficult to bat on. You can't play cross-batted shots very easily. You will have to use straight bat shots, or if you're using the square, use the square, behind you, not in front, so that once it's flicked through or hit through, then it becomes difficult. So that is where I think the likes of Prasidh Krishna will still enjoy bowling here. It will be a tough task if we go past 200. Yes, Shashank Dada wanted to say something. You're on mute, Dada.
Mute, mute.
You're on mute, Dada.
I just wanted to add to the Pranav's point that he said that 39 to 4 to 181. So if we analyze that, in that, at least without counting, I will say that there will be 10 boundaries which were unnecessary. So what has happened that because this point is very important in the second inning of Australia, because we'll have to defend a very less total. So if we try them for the easy runs, then their task will be more difficult. So in 1 over, I remember categorically 5 dot balls, and last ball it was a unnecessary boundary.
Yeah.
So this kind of economy of bowling. So if you cannot take wicket, at least try them out for the run. This mindset we have to hammer and brainwash in the minds of the bowlers when we are facing a limited run target to defend. That was the only
Yeah,
point I
absolutely.
wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing there, right, with Bumrah maybe out of the field, right? I actually am looking at it from a very different way. We should feel fortunate that it is not 250 all out for Australia, and we still were able to restrict them at somewhere around 180, because that looked like a possibility when Steve Smith and Webster were batting, and they were scoring runs at a very brisk rate. So it did feel like maybe they'll get a small lead of around 50 runs, and that would come to bite us. But and nevertheless, yes, the point is taken from 39 for 4. I think we should have capitalized, but considering that the attack was quite inexperienced in the form of Prasidh coming good was really important. And also Siraj not taking wickets as much as we would have liked after Bumrah went off. So stepping up, Prasidh Krishna stepping up, and also a couple of low-hanging fruits in the form of wickets for Nitish made sure that the Australians were restricted to whatever score it was, 181. But yes, the point is absolutely accurate. We could have done better, definitely. Now, coming to our batting, right? Like Pranav, you have summarized it quite well. We did lose momentum after we saw the jazz ball in the first over itself. I hope tomorrow we have Mitchell Stark completing his 50 as well uh, in bowling. He's just 14 away. I hope he does that. Uh, Jaiswal did quite well to knock him around, and then obviously Pant did what Pant does. We also have Sagar here, who I believe is driving his car as well. Uh,
stuck
so
stuck in
so Sagar,
Mumbai traffic as usual, even on a
yes,
weekend.
yeah. Just make sure
Got
that while you are driving, don't edge it somewhere around. Just make sure that
Yeah, just
you
make
know
sure
while
that you don't age the fourth and the fifth stump cars, I would say, not balls this
no
time.
no no no.
Even the eight
I'm
stump
letting
bikes.
even
I'm letting everything go. सब कुछ well left कर रहा हूँ. सब कुछ well left कर रहा हूँ.
nice. That's a
Actually,
good approach. All right. So Sagar, what is your opinion on the Indian batting, the approach in the beginning, and especially the KL Rahul dismissal?
I think first of all, what Yashashvi did and what Pant did was really what is the need on this wicket. And I think yesterday also we were discussing that if ever there was one wicket, one pitch where you wanted these guys to play their natural game, this was it, right? Uh, KL again. I mean, not surprised to be honest. With what happened with KL. That's again his usual trend to say. More again, very disappointed with Shubman Gill. The
Mm,
kind of short selection, and I mean, come on, you are a number three batter, and you are again charging down the track, playing a false shot, a nothing shot, and inside edging it to the keeper. He did the same thing to Nathan Lyon in the first inning. So clearly not learning. We saw Yashashvi learning. He went back and tried cutting and displayed some good back foot shots. But Gill is a big worry. Kohli, I think the less we talk about Kohli, the better it is
yeah,
because
better. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
There's no
Yeah,
point. There's no point. It's beyond.
completely agree
And
on
I
that
think, I
point.
think, I think, and now I mean we must put it on record. We must put it on record that at least in red ball cricket, please stop the comparisons of Kohli and Tendulkar because there is nothing. I mean, there is no way that he's even close when it comes to those kind of comparisons. So I just a request to everyone, all our viewers, भाई इसके आगे कोहली तेंदुलकर का कंपैरिजन बंद कर दो भाई मतलब बहुत बुरा लगता है सुनने को ठीक है एंड अगेन नाउ it will be very interesting to see how many runs Washington scores because again if he does not score and he hasn't bowled a single ball in this test match this is again a very clear and a very repetitive case of playing with 10 players and having one passenger in the playing 11 ये WTC I think if I'm not wrong 2021 का WTC से चलते आ रहे हैं कि
But
we
who's
go
the
and pick the
passenger
top
here?
11. Sorry?
Who's the passenger here? Who exactly is the passenger here? Is it Kohli
No,
or is
no.
it?
He's the
Yeah,
stand-in skipper, so you can't call him a passenger. To
It's
be
a
really
two-tier
honest.
AC coach with three sleepers occupied by three people. Kohli, Gill, and if, as he has rightly pointed out, if Washington Sundar is taken as a spinner, he should have been given at least 4 5 overs. So from
Exactly,
that angle,
exactly.
yes, not at his fault, but from the match
And again,
situation.
if you are picking him as a batsman, then why not Jurel or Sarfaraz for that matter? Okay? Or if you wanted to bolster your bowling attack, I think Harshit Rana would have been handful on this wicket. Huh? The pace that he balls, he's a very skiddy and a very nippy kind of a customer. I think he would have been a handful on this wicket. I mean, just see what Boland is doing. I mean, just landing it on the seam and letting the ball do the thing. So Harshit would have really been a very what you can say, a very difficult customer on this wicket. But yeah, again, that's what we have been doing. We just claim that we are picking the playing 11, looking at the pitch, but I don't think if anyone is even looking at the pitch while doing that. They're just going with what they feel like. And again, disappointed not to see Nitish going up the order. I mean, क्या अभी मतलब समझ में नहीं आ रहा है मतलब it is like you want Kohli to go out there and fail, right? उसको भेज देते 4 नंबर पे तो क्या जाता नीतीश रेड्डी को he would have come into bat with 3 down, a little less pressure, and no game का complexion would have been different. So yeah, that's my point. Jadeja seems to be have gone into a shell, but ठीक है जब तक out नहीं हो रहा है तब तक ठीक है. But just fabulous from Rishabh Pant. What we all expect of him, and again a lot of talk on you know some unfair criticism uh, on his part regarding the ramp shots and all that.
Yeah, I think the main criticism that comes is when you've got these good looking shots, right? The cricketing shots. Why go for the ramp shot when you've got two fielders for it? That's, I think, the main part of the criticism. But what I think Gavaskar also told on the record is, even in English and Hindi commentaries, he liked what he saw today of Pant, where he hit those two sixes on the leg side of Stark. He said this is his natural game. This is what he should do. Even Sanjay Bangar in the morning, or even yesterday, right, pointed out this, that when Pant started off as a test batsman, he hardly scored those ramp shots and other things. It was only in the in the England tour of India, when he ramped Anderson for the first time over the third
Correct,
leg
correct,
boundary.
correct.
That's when he
His
started
his
playing those
strength
shots.
his strength is this the terrific hand-eye coordination, going down the
Absolutely.
wicket and tonking the ballers over their head, or if the ball is somewhere middle leg, just picking it up over the square leg, deep square leg. So, I mean, fantastic batting. That's what we wanted, right?
Yeah, and talking about our batting, right? Well, the approach was quite clear from the dressing room that we will be going for runs. But what would I have liked more is, we could have chosen players who would do that, go for the runs, and we could have even chosen players who could play the waiting game. For example, that's why I was surprised, and that's why the question earlier of the dismissal of KL Rahul. In my opinion, KL Rahul should have played the waiting game. Perhaps even Nitish Reddy, after the fall of 5 wickets or 4 wickets, I think. I think he was in the crease after the fall of fifth wicket. They should have, both of these batsmen should have played the waiting game, the kind of game that Jadeja and Washington will have to now forcefully play for the first hour tomorrow. That's where tactically I think we missed it, is what I feel. But yes, over to you, Sagar. You seem to have a point, and then we'll go to Pranav.
Yeah, I mean, see, I've been saying in this my previous videos as well. There is no one in the top order or top four who will play that sheet anchor role. Okay, who
Mm.
will construct the innings for the entire team, and others will revolve around him. Earlier, we had Pujara, or for that matter, in the yesteryears, Rahul Dravid, or someone else who would have that sheet anchor role. He or she will construct. He will construct the innings, and the others will rotate around him. See, let's understand that our boys, I mean, the boys of today's generation don't have the temperament to survive and to build innings. Okay, we either see hit out or get out shots, like flamboyant shots. That is not the way Test cricket is to be played. Okay, but unfortunately, you see, more or less, those are the kind of shots which our players go for. There
Yeah.
is no such temperament where he has to stand, build innings, get the singles and twos, tire the fielding team, tire the bowlers, and then score very freely. I mean, this is the normal process or how the Test cricket works. I mean, if you see all the wickets which have gone today as well, all are flamboyant shots. It's not proper cricketing shots that they have played. So I mean, see, I mean, the top order in this series has not contributed much, to be honest. Even in this Test match, they have not even scored 50 runs, 50, 60 runs. So that is something that's a worrying factor, to be honest. And bowlers, as usual, have done well. They have got out. I mean, after scoring 180, I thought Australia would at least bat their way out on the third day itself, scoring 400, 450 runs. But that was not the case. I mean, we got them out very cheaply, I would say. But then the batsmen have to show some character, and they have to. Someone has to put up its hand and say, "Yes, I am going to perform. I am going to wait. This is how we are going to build innings around this." I mean, I feel there is no strategy. Everyone is just going there, playing their shots, getting out. There is no accountability. There is no responsibility. There is nothing. It feels like I mean, what I can say, your team selection is absolutely taken for granted. You
Yeah.
don't value your wicket. That is more important. You should have a price tag on your wicket. I mean, players like KL Rahul and I mean, Gill, I don't understand, playing more than what, 30, 35 tests, is still averaging only 30. That is a tremendous worry. A player like him who is performing in India, and I'm not sure about other countries as well, but then I feel
Yeah.
he's a flat track bully, to be honest.
Yeah. Sagar, you're true to your display name there. Retire Roko. We will give you a separate session to uh, uh, put everything in the open. We'll give you that in simpler words.
Ah,
But over to Pranav now. Now, since Sagar is talking about these shots, and maybe barring Jaiswal and maybe even Kohli, the others have probably thrown their wicket. We will not include Pant in that because Pant was going for the runs. So let's spare him that. But coming to the pitch now, and to you, Pranav, is there really anything in the pitch that's causing these shots and people are going for the runs?
If you ask me, I think the 4 to 6 meter lengths have produced more wickets. And
Yeah.
if you look at Nitish Kumar Reddy picking up Pat Cummins and Mitch Stark, he banged the pitch hard.
Yeah.
So, in that sense, there is enough help for the bowlers, seam bowlers in this wicket. Plus, if India managed to bat at least 1.5 sessions tomorrow, fingers crossed, the cracks will open up a little more. So you see Boland hitting those lanes where the cracks are slightly opened up because of the sun baking down today. And that will make it more difficult. And that's where I feel Washington Sundar will be used a little more than yesterday or
Mm-hmm.
today. So in terms of KL Rahul, he's averaging 32 in the series, 37 overall in his career. I think the shot that he played in the first innings was absolutely non-muffable. That's a word that I've invented in this podcast itself. The second innings shot was more of a judgmental call where he anticipated a half volley and wanted to put it down the ground. Eventually got an inside edge that hit the top of off stump. But in terms of Shubman Gill, I completely agree with what Sagar is saying because the problem with Shubman Gill is that he's throwing away key starts. When you're a
Yeah.
number 3 batter and you're looking good, I mean, he played a few back foot punches and he looked all elegant. You're not
Absolutely.
denying that fact, but just looking elegant doesn't make you runs. You have to grind it out. So the problem with Shubman Gill is he's throwing away key starts, and I think the intent was right. He wanted to unsettle the bowler from ball one, but the ball that he chose was the wrong one. I mean, as I said, the cross-batted shots are not going to work on this wicket because it's a seaming wicket. You have to play straight bat shots, or you have to play the way Rishabh Pant played. I mean, you just have to go at the ball hard.
Yeah.
Uh, Even the shot that he played to Pat Cummins where he got out, he did not have enough feet movement. If you
Yeah.
look at it, so the problem is that if you don't go towards the ball, then you're not going to get value for your runs, and that's what initially when Labuschagne got out today to Bumrah, he didn't move his feet at all.
Absolutely.
It just took the edge. So the problem with Indian batters is they are not moving their feet enough to the ball, and that is where I think the way Kale tried to use his feet, but eventually got out. So in hindsight, you could say that probably it could have been 140 for 4. We have gifted 2 wickets extra, or at max 3 wickets extra.
Yeah.
But what I also foresee here is good captaincy by Pat Cummins, because he was quick enough to take off Stark once he got hit by Jaiswal, because uh, Cummins got a feeling that Jaiswal is trying to go for that shots to Stark. He immediately
Yeah.
got Boland.
Yeah.
Now
And
once he
and and
got Boland,
also he has Boland, right? Who I think is Hazelwood's
relentless.
injury is a blessing in disguise. And to discuss that point, I'm going to come to you, Shashank Dada, in a minute once Pranav finishes his point.
Yeah, so once he shifted to Boland, Boland was quick enough to actually move to around the wicket, because first
Mhm.
innings he got him over the wicket, then he got him to around the stumps, and then eventually set him up beautifully. And that is what I like about the Australian bowlers, that they are not worried about being hit of a boundary. And today as well, Jasprit Bumrah showed it to us that if you're reverse swept by somebody like Sam Constance, you don't have to eventually keep a flying slip or a third man. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
you still have to
absolutely.
stick to your original plan, and that is where I think Rohit Sharma, as a captain, is a lot defensive in Test matches. And I seriously feel that the sort of captaincy that is at the need of the hour is being little defensive, but at the same time be attacking, so that you keep chipping away with wickets. And that's where I think 39 for 4 was a key opportunity where you could have taken more wickets, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, maybe
You could
maybe it
have
was
scored
it
enough
was
runs, but
maybe it was Rohit captaining after 39 for 4 until there was the wicket next time. Because that's what we have seen. That's what we have seen. When there is a wicket, when there is chirpiness, it's Kohli captaining or Bumrah captaining. But when there is something going slow, not our way, it is Rohit captaining. But we'll come to that. We'll come to that controversy. We'll come to that clarification from Rohit and his interview later. Over to you, Shashank Dada, on Hazelwood injury and how Boland fit the scheme of things for Australia, and how it has been absolutely Bumrahsk for Boland for Australia. You're on mute.
Dada, you're on
You're on
mute.
mute.
So one point before that, I just wanted to touch in 30 seconds. We have missed all that the catches dropped in the fourth test and the catches taken in the fifth test. Today,
Absolutely.
KL Rahul took 3, Jaiswal took 1 or 2. And the most pleasant thing for us that Smith unnecessarily poking his hand in front of Khwaja and give us
Jadeja.
life. But
would have been 7 down.
fortunately for Australia, that didn't cost them much. But it was punts, I think.
No, Jadeja. It was Jadeja
It is
at the
Jadeja. So
back end of the
still
day.
they will pay for it. So it was Jadeja, so they will pay for it. So this was one small point. Now coming back to Boland versus Hazelwood. See, I personally feel that today these all players, they go in the field like a robot. There is a lot of facility of
Hmm.
support staff, analysis, and so much of things. So what they have done possibly is this: before coming to the tour and while on the tour, our batsmen have studied Hazelwood. They have not studied Boland, and that is why Boland is getting the success. I have personally seen his bowling, and with no knowledge of cricket, I venture to say that he has no penetrating arm in his armature, in his um, uh, kitty. He is as normal fast seam bowler as any other bowler, but only thing is that our batsmen are not prepared, analyzed his bowling, and that's why he got the success. Yes,
Yes, Pranav, go
Pranav.
ahead.
No, I don't agree with this that Boland is not lethal, because in this sort of a wicket where it's green and it is aiding seam bowling, somebody like a Scott Boland who penetrates that length, that's why I mentioned that length of 4 to 6 meters. If somebody is consistently bowling at that length, you are tentative enough to prod at the ball. So on these kind of wickets, especially if you go to England, for example, he's like our Mukesh Kumar, or even
Yeah.
a Mohammad Shami, because he hits the seam quite often. And on these sort of wickets, if you hit the seam quite often, even you use the cross seam or the 3/4 or the wobble seam ball, it will create problems. And that is why Boland has been super effective than other bowlers, as compared to say a Stark or a Cummins, because Stark doesn't have the 3/4 or a wobble seam ball, and that is
Yeah.
why it's easy to hit him through the line than waiting for the ball to be loose or at the room.
Yes. Yes, Sagar, go ahead.
Yeah, adding to what Pranav is telling, see, Australian bowlers, what I saw rather a bit with what everyone saw, they're bowling to their strengths. Let's be very honest about it, and they have a plan for each and every batter of ours. No matter if they are going for few runs or few boundaries or sixes, they are just bowling to their strengths. And if you, as Pranav rightly said, if you observe bowler, he's consistently hitting the seam and letting the ball do everything. He's not doing anything extra. He's not someone who's like I would say a five-star bowler or a over the top bowler. He's just following the basics. That's it. It's our batters who don't have the temperament. I mean, and that's it. Nothing else.
Yeah, in a way, we are to be blamed for the consistency that we have shown in
Absolutely.
gifting our wickets away. I mean, due
Absolutely.
credit to Boland, due credit to all the other
Yeah,
bowlers.
yeah.
However,
Yep.
there are, and we have been covering this in the series of podcasts we are doing this series, where we are saying that every inning, our Indian batsmen, there are at least three of them who are gifting their wickets away. And even in this second innings that we have played, we've got at least four of them who have gifted their wickets to the batsmen, to the bowlers. However, all credit to Boland and the other bowlers, because they are doing the hard work. They're placing the ball in the right areas. Like Pranav mentioned, 4 to 6 meters length is what is getting most wickets. Now, because we spoke about that, right? I want to quickly talk about Prasidh Krishna and his performance today, and then move to the next segment about the prospects of the match. Pranav, over to you on what you have seen Prasidh Krishna bowling in South Africa and what we have seen today him bowling here and even in the practice matches. What is the difference you thought in a summarized way, and what lengths did he bowl?
I think initially, if you look at Prasidh Krishna as a tall bowler, the natural length that he'll bowl is obviously 6 meter and a little shorter.
Yeah,
So on this sort of wickets, it is actually easy to ramp the bowler because it'll aid a tennis ball bounce. But if you look at the ball that he bowled to Labuschagne initially, Labuschagne almost fended it off to Rishabh Pant.
yeah,
So in South Africa, not in Centurion, but in Durban, I think. In South Africa, where he played his maiden Test match, he had a problem where it was about the mindset of sticking to one length, and I have this problem with Paras Mamre being the bowling coach of the Test side, because Bharat Arun has done such a great job as a bowling coach that he immediately advises. I don't know if the viewers or you guys have read Sridhar's book. The way he advises bowlers is tremendous. I mean, Shardul Thakur got the ball to talk in Gaba just because of Bharat Arun's advice. So that is where I think bowling coaches have to do a lot of job advising the bowlers to what length to bowl. So in the first session, he was not very effective, but the way he came back and got out Steve Smith, you can the way he got out Alex Carey, you can see the sort of planning that they have done mid session, right? That Mone Mokal must have told him, you are a hit the deck bowler, stick to your natural length, but what you have to do is bowl a few inches further, and that few inches make a lot of difference.
yeah,
So when you're bowling 5 meters, a few inches would land you 4 meters, so that will give you a wicket. And that's how he got Steve Smith, because he made Steve Smith play a straight drive,
yeah,
and the setup was even brilliant. So I think it's a problem with mindset even for the bowlers, that you have to figure out your length. And I think that's where Jasprit Bumrah is in a very different league above all of the bowlers at
All
the
of these.
moment, that he you know immediately figures out the natural length that needs to be bowled on that wicket,
Yeah.
irrespective of the format. So Prasidh Krishna is a great prospect for Test cricket, but you will have to use him wisely. You can't use him in England, where Ben Stokes and Brendan McCullum prepare pitches for 400 runs in an innings. You can't use him there. You can use him in South Africa. You can use him in England. Sorry, Australia. You can use him in perhaps New Zealand as well, but not in England, where it's going to give you steep bounce and it's easier to ride on the bounce.
Yeah.
But there, Mukesh Kumar will be more effective because he'll bowl those puller lengths naturally, and that is
Absolutely.
where the difference is. I think I've tried to keep it short, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean we
No,
could do a separate
perfect.
session.
Great. Yeah, great analysis on that. I It was very heartening to see that despite Bumrah not in the field, our bowlers did the job eventually.
There
Even
is
though it
one
has
more
come at
bowler
yeah,
who actually improved today, and that is Mohammad Siraj.
yeah,
The way he got out Travis Head is the way he should bowl in these conditions. That
absolutely.
outswinger, Monet Morkel, has done some, I think, magic with a stick. That he's redeveloped that outswinger, which pitched on middle stump,
Yeah,
squared Travis Head up, and got carried to a second
yeah.
slip. So that's
We we
brilliant
we
bowling.
Yes, we saw a lot of outswingers from Siraj today, and then I think the ball he bowled to head to get his wicket right was, if you ask me, it was the best ball of the day. The ball come slightly inside, and it was a brilliant delivery up front for Head, who has been a headache all this series anyway. So I hope he gets out tomorrow cheaply as well, with some magic our bowlers do, which makes me take to the final topic of the day, which is the prospects for tomorrow. And if you see, I've taken a cue from Sagar. I'm wearing the India jersey uh, today. He wore it yesterday, and I hope. And we've got a good day today, a decent day today. I'll call it India's day largely, considering the situation that we are in. Another 50 runs, and we are in the driving seat. Pranav, I think I'm taking a cue from you as well. 200 plus chase in Sydney is a very difficult thing to do, whether it is day three or it is day four or day
Uh,
five.
yes, just to add to your point, in our preview, I had mentioned only once in the last 25 years,
Yes.
200 plus has been chased in Sydney. That was a bold declaration by Sir Grant Smith. He declared at 196 for four, and Ponting went mad in both innings, and eventually Australia won that game, 288 for two. If India get past, I mean, I'll give you this scenario because we are talking about this. If India are 8 down by first session, I'll give it to you in writing that we are going to win this game, because uh, the more India bats time, the more this pitch will open up. The more the likes of Jadeja and the more the likes of my prediction of Jadeja picking up a six for will actually come true. So the more India
Oh,
bats, the more it's good for them.
perfect. Sagar,
More,
I'm
more
moving to
is
you.
the keyword here. More is the
Yes.
keyword here, I would say. Yeah, my.
So
No,
Sagar,
I mean, it's on
any
the
thoughts on
forecast as well.
what
There
holds
is
tomorrow?
a
Yeah,
rain forecast for day four, day five.
day five.
So
Yes,
more has to be calculated.
right. So Sagar, any thoughts on what you
Yeah.
see tomorrow? Any predictions?
Well, what I see is we need to score. I mean, in excess of. We need to get a lead of excess of 200 runs. What we have to do is Ravindra Jadeja and Washington Sundar should at least bat out the first session, I would say. I mean, I'm being very positive about this. People might laugh at me for being so optimistic, but then yes, another 40 or 50 or 40, 35 to 40 odd runs easily, it is gettable. It's not a Herculean task. And once we go par that score of 200, I mean, we stand a very good chance. And as Pranav said, the pitch will behave differently on day three, and we have a very good chance to win this test match and level the series and retain the BGT trophy. You know. So for me, it's like we should bat really well tomorrow, at least for an hour or so, get good runs on the board, another 30, 35 runs. I mean, I don't expect much from Prasidh Krishna, Mohammad Siraj, or for that matter, Bumrah, because I would say they will rally around 20, 25 runs max at the most. But then we need Washington Sundar and Ravindra Jadeja to score at least 25 to 30 runs each, and we are in a comfortable position.
Okay. Yes, Shashank Dada. I'll come to that point, Pranav, to you on what Sagar has
No,
mentioned.
one
The
thing we
tally
are
takes us to
forgetting
250.
about
I am coming to you,
one thing we are forgetting about is that what is the health fitness of Bumrah.
Bumrah.
The entire story will revolve around that, according to me. If he is
Yeah,
fit, that is perfect. If he is not fit,
absolutely.
then 200 is still be like 150, according to me. But we
Yes,
are
yes.
keeping our fingers crossed.
Yes, crossed.
But what I am looking at, that we have a mindset that today it is 6 down 150 or 140, whatever it is. So we have in this series rose from that, score another 100 runs, 150 runs. So let us not go into that mindset that we can only score another 50 runs with remaining 4 wickets. Yes, giving the situation, patch, whatever the 3 innings record, it is difficult. But what we have seen is that most of the time tailenders have made more runs than the top order. So that can happen because they are not batting with the technique, and the luck is there, they will make the score. That is the point. And one more thing I wanted to just share it for viewers with the permission of Amay, that this is the new thing North and Gang is doing. We are
Yes.
distributing these smileys in the stadium who are watching the match as their memento, and our ambassadors are there, and they have distributed about 10 to 15 of this to whosoever our counterparts or whosoever is there. So this is one very good information for the viewers. We had this also for this Melbourne test, which we unfortunately lost. So every time we change the color combination and design little bit. And this also we had at Wankhede third test, New Zealand we lost. So these two color combinations seems to be unlucky. I don't know whether this pink will be lucky or not. Over to you.
NSG will have his international shaka soon.
Yeah.
NSG goes international.
Yeah. So thanks for that, Shashank Dada. Now, Pranav, over to you.
Yeah.
Now, Sagar is talking about runs, more runs,
Yeah.
30 to 40 runs each from Sundar and Jadeja, and then our
Yeah,
tail wagging for another 20 25 runs. So,
2020.
in a way, we need somewhere around 50 to 100 runs, with Shashank Dada bringing in the point of Bumrah not, let's say, being
Valid point.
available,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
then the 200 score would look like 150, and the current 150 lead would look like 100. Okay, so what are your views on this? What do you think if, let's say, we don't make enough runs tomorrow and we are bundled out within the first 20 or 10 runs? What happens then? Do you
I
think
think
the pitch is good enough to
it
give us
is.
the edge still?
It is. I mean, at the moment. So if you look at how today's day panned out, I mean, I will typically look at it in two ways. One is how India did as compared to yesterday. They did definitely well. So that brings the aspect of confidence.
Mm,
Second is how did India do today? Uh, they did well, but they did only decently well. So uh, the point here is that again, we don't have to bat runs; we have to bat time. So that's why I raised the point that the more you bat, the more it will be helpful for the bowlers to actually get something off the surface because uh, this record, that is 11 wickets fell yesterday, 15 wickets fell today. This record is the most in the history of Sydney ever since the time a test match has been played here. And I saw an interview by Glenn McGrath who said in the last 20 odd years, he has never seen so much grass under wicket. So it's a it's a helpful wicket. Again, so what I'm looking at is 80 runs more. Now, how do you get 80 runs is this partnership gives you 30, 40, however, how much ever. Because this ball is 32 overs old, it won't do as much as it did today, assuming that tomorrow is not very overcast in the morning. Then another 40 runs from the tail, because what I see or what I hear is that Bumrah is fit enough to bat. Is he fit enough to bowl will depend on the situation. That he'll take injections or medicines and then come out and bowl. Don't play the Champions Trophy, forget it. So it you have 4 legitimate wickets. Remember that. Forget about what has happened in the previous day. You have to anyway start fresh in a test match. So what I will tell them is, you bat 50 balls, each of you. The 200 balls you bat, 200 balls is approximately, if you divide by 6, 30 overs, one session. One session and a little over 10 overs. So when you're batting one session, for sure you will get at least 60 runs.
60 runs, yeah.
From here, 60 runs, you're saying 210. A few wedges here and there, it will go to 70, 75. Then you're on par. That's why I said, if you're 8 down by the end of first session, you are almost reaching 200. Currently, they're tracking to 190 based on the numbers and the run rate. Now, what they have to do to take it to 220, they have to play a few more shots, calculative shots. See, somebody like Nathan Lyon will come and bowl tomorrow because they know that these two are left-handers. You have a matchup. So how do you counter him? You take calculated risks. So that is the approach. Each person has to bat 50 balls minimum. If you bat 50 balls, you will for sure score 10 to 15 runs, and that accumulates to 60 to 75 runs, which will be surely enough on this sort of week.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Pranav, for that. Let's hope that these things happen, and that's where I think we lost. We could have been in a better position if some of our batters did not throw away their wickets like the way they did. I would have been happy to see Nitish still batting and Washi still in the ranks to come. However, that did not happen. We lost some wickets. Yes, yes, Pranav.
So the last time I made a day 3 prediction on this podcast, it almost came true when Nitish Kumar Reddy and Washington Sundar put a record partnership for 8th wicket.
Yeah,
So I'm
absolutely.
pretty hopeful that we'll get at least 80 more runs. Whatever we get after that is bonus. So
Yeah.
it sets up for a cracking Sunday, right? I mean, despite whatever has happened, you're still glued to your TVs hoping for 2-2, and that's what Test cricket is for you.
Perfect. Nicely summed up, Pranav. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Um, and that's where I think some of these wickets we would have hoped to have them still. We would have hoped Kohli would not make that same mistake. And that's where I again am coming to that display name next to Sagar, where he talks about retire Roko, and then that reminds me of the interview of Rohit Sharma today. Some call it as a good, fantastic PR job. Some are saying, praising, "Oh Rohit, well done. This is the most honest we have seen of Rohit," and Sagar would agree with that. More so. Uh, yeah, Sagar, go ahead. Talk about
Yeah,
it,
I
whatever you
mean,
have to.
well, see, to be honest, I, I don't know. I mean, if it's a PR stunt or whatever it is, but this is the first time I've seen someone who is who's coming on air and justifying his absence from the team. To be honest, it was not recorded at all. It was pretty sure that he's not in form, and he should have done this long time back. Let's not wait for people to tell you to drop your self from the team, be it captain or be it any other player. I mean, let's understand. He should understand now he's what 38. The kind of reflexes or the kind of feet movement he's showing while he's batting, it's absolutely horrendous and pathetic. It's absolutely nonsense. So I don't know what does he mean that he's going to still stay back and wait for another 10 odd years, another decade to come. I mean, that's
Well,
pointless. Coming back,
he'll be oldest one to captain India by then. Okay, go
yeah,
ahead.
I mean, if you go by people's emotions in India, they would still recall MS Dhoni and to play him again. I mean, this is how the mentality goes. Still, to be honest,
All right.
coming to
Now,
Kohli, last 10 seconds on Kohli. I mean, this is the eighth time in this series he has got out in the same fashion. Absolutely no words for him, and then he's screaming on the wickets. I mean, he did something which I know everyone of us saw, but then it's horrid. It's shambolic, to be honest. That is the word I'll use. Shambolic. That's it.
yes, Shashank, that I'll give you the chance to speak up as well, and then I'll have my own opinion on this.
I will try to control my language. See, but whatever officially Rohit has said, I can of course reproduce. No, this is a game of cricket. I remember old days when commentators were calling the players as boys. So this is not the game of veterans. It is the game of boys. This is as simple as that. So what Sagar has just said, that he's 38. Unless he is very extraordinary, he doesn't claim to be a on the ground. And now he in his interview has quoted that I am matured enough that because I have got two sons, two children. Now, how it matters here in the game, I don't understand. Just because
So I think,
he has seen enough cricket, that doesn't mean he can be there till he takes the pension. So this all statements what he has made has no cricketing sense. See, as a banker, I will tell you one very simple thing. In bank, suppose we have done very good 100 good things for collecting a deposit or giving good advance, but then I did a one fraud. Is it justified? It is not. So your 100 good things doesn't qualify you to do one bad thing. Every game is a different game. Every time you are selected to play in that game, not because you have played in the previous game. Unless this mindset is brainwashed in our players and our entire system, whether it is a coach, selection panel, or whosoever it is, we are not going to improve. We have lost so many matches because of this attitude.
yeah, but just to
Absolutely.
put a counterpoint across, right, Sagar and Shashank, I hear you what you're saying. We need to have players selected on merit, and to that point, right, I don't think Rohit was selected to be the captain of India or selected for these two tours because he played some really good knocks over the last few years, or he was a good white ball player. He was selected as a captain. He was selected as an opener because he had runs behind him in the last two WTCs. Maybe not this, but the last WTC he was probably a top scorer. So I'm sure he is matured enough to not take his place granted, and that's probably the series of failures, right, prompted him to finally take what was the team's call, and probably even he was himself not very confident and wanted someone like Gill to replace him for a better chance for Gill to contribute to the team's total. I think that was one of the reasons. And if you ask me on the comment that he has two kids and he's matured enough, I think it is typical Rohit Sharma type of an answer, more to do with his own maybe slightly casual way of answering, but not his attitude to consider his place as certain in the team. I don't think any player in the team is making it his own place there. Even now, Kohli, for that matter, is also now worried about his place in the team because his place is not justified. So I think that is one thing. Second thing is um, when when I lost my stream of thoughts. It was some point that Sagar said. Um, I'll come to that. But Pranav, do you have anything to say?
No, I think look, what Rohit wanted to put out to the public by giving that interview is that he's not yet finished in terms of international career. Test cricket and all that he's saying is around 6 months away. Just trying to say that there is an important tournament coming up. There is something that we need to focus on, and that's what they are working on. Currently, he's not in form and he's sitting out. That's all. I think we are
Yeah.
reading too much into what's being said and all that. And it is the job of the national selectors to sit with him and Virat Kohli and then decide what needs to be done with the two giants in terms of Test cricket.
Yeah.
You know,
Also on that, right? Also on that, Pranav, sorry to cut you in between. See, announcing the retirement of a full-time captain in the middle of a series is a
yeah, it'll
disastrous thing
dent.
to do.
Right,
Yes,
right.
it's a disastrous thing to do. We need
I
to
think
understand that.
nobody can be under MS Dhoni because he had the confidence in Virat Kohli that he can lead the team ahead. That
Yes,
is why he gave up. But in
yes.
terms of Rohit Sharma, does he have the confidence in Jasprit Bumrah that he can be a full-time captain? Definitely not, because he's not going to play all the test matches, even at home.
Also, he is not a
Even
limited over captain either, where
right,
Virat Kohli probably was in the mix of becoming the
right,
full-time
all
captain for
format
India.
captain. No,
Yeah,
even in that case, MS Dhoni when gave up the Test cricket
he was
captaincy,
still captaining
he kept the
ODIs.
white ball
Yeah,
captaincy until 2016 for
yes.
another 1.5 years. So he has to look at all. Now he gave up T20 captaincy because he knew there are the likes of Surya, there are the likes of Hardik Pandya to take over the reins. They have capable people in T20 cricket to take over. But in terms of one day cricket and test cricket, he doesn't have enough deputies to actually designate the team towards. And that is why he's not announcing the official retirement, because he needs to devise a plan as to who needs to be given the charge. Because it's just like how we work in corporate structure, right? Once somebody is leaving, who takes over has to be taken care of. Otherwise,
Yeah,
it won't work.
exactly. And there are 6 months, guys. There are six
Yeah,
months in between, okay,
exactly.
where we are not playing any test cricket. So why is the hurry here? Okay, where is the hurry coming from? That he needs to make it very clear right now, right away, that you have to tell us as fans. We are very passionate. We need to know if Rohit is playing or not. What is the
Even in
need
terms
here?
of Kohli, right?
Yeah,
I know he's getting out because of a technical flaw. There are issues. But why suddenly call for a retirement? I mean, there is an important tournament in February, in just about a month's time from now on. Rather focus on that. There is a T20 cricket that's going to be played in Wankhede in our stand, in our stadium. So we will rather focus on that. We'll rather focus on the match experience. We'll rather focus and try and dissect on the ODI side now, because we are playing the ODI format. So I think
yes,
it's
yes,
too much fuss about the star culture that's there. That you have to tell us
correct.
what is going to happen, and then the media buzz around leaking information, all of
So
these things.
I will
The
give you
star culture,
Sagar. Sagar, I will give you a point
yeah.
to discuss on this. However, I understand the sentiments of the people here. Definitely, Rohit and Kohli, on the basis of runs, do not deserve to be part of the playing 11 in this. But this is not the time for them to retire. Okay, this maybe there is a scope for them to make way for somebody, and then someone like Jurel, someone like maybe Sarfu, someone like Padikal takes their place, or even Ishwaran gets a chance. Okay, there is
We have
definitely a
we
scope
have
for a
Ruturaj
revamping.
Gaikwad. Yeah.
Ruturaj
We have
Gaikwad. There
Ruturaj
is definitely,
Gaikwad,
yes,
Shreyas Iyer. There are people who can replace. I
yes.
mean, you can
So
continue.
there is a need to rehowl the test batting lineup. That's guaranteed. But if the players are asking in the middle of the series or towards the fag end of the series that our captain should announce the retirement because we are passionate to some ism or fan culture, that's not going to happen. They are more professional than what we are, as cricket fans here, to be honest. Yes, Sagar.
See, considering the quality of cricket that we play and the kind of players that we have, we should have won the WTC final at least once. Let's be honest about that. Since the start of WTC, we have not even won once. We have played the final twice. Okay, I'm not blaming. I'm not putting a finger on a particular player. At the end of the day, it's a team performance. Okay, but if you look at the results, at the end of the day, we haven't won much trophies. To be honest, ICC trophies. Look at Australia. Okay, they don't have this good culture. To be honest, the kind of fan following and fathom that we have in India, it's not there. It's
Oh,
perform
but
or
I'll tell you
perish.
one thing, Sagar. I'll
That's
tell
a
you one thing,
simple
Sagar.
formula that they have. Yeah.
Huh. But see, I agreed. But if you see the top two test batters, right, they have failed miserably in this WTC as well. So their averages have hovered somewhere in the mid 30s. Now,
There are two
Labuschagne,
test matches in Sri Lanka. So do you
yes.
think they will play Prabhat Jayasuriya and Dhananjaya De Silva and Kamindu Mendes on those Sri Lankan wickets in Galle for two test matches? Do you think they will have the technique to do that? So it's not about fandom. It's about the application on that day on that 22 yards. We just have to stick about that. We don't have to, you know, even when Sachin Tendulkar was playing, I had this big problem of people, admiring him a lot. You have to admire him. I'm completely with you for his
Yeah, yeah.
technique, for his
Perfect,
style.
perfect. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But beyond that, you know, there is a limit to cricket fandom. And
Yeah.
I recall always Ravichandran Ashwin's statement that fan wars are the worst thing that happened to Indian cricket, because
Absolutely.
it takes to us
Absolutely.
it takes us to nowhere in Indian cricket.
Nowhere, nowhere. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So for
Absolutely.
me,
See,
I mean, I saw
there
a
are
meme on Twitter.
there are
Sorry,
these.
Ahmed Allah.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry,
I
sorry.
saw a meme on Twitter.
I'll just talk on your fandom problem, right? Now the thing is, see, there are these speculatory remarks by the fans where they are saying that since Ashwin retired in the middle of the series, there is something wrong with the team management. There is something. If
Oh.
until Ashwin comes out in the open, right? Let's stop speculating this and let's enjoy the Test cricket instead.
Yeah,
That's what
100%.
is the main thing. Yes, Pranav.
And I
Sorry. Go
think
ahead.
in terms of what happens, this fan war gets very ugly when it comes to IPL, because the lockdown kids are actually, I'm terming them as lockdown kids, but they'd be genuine fans. I seriously apologize if I'm hurting someone's sentiments. But the problem is that I saw a recent meme where, once Indian Express article came out, there was that photograph where Virat Kohli is on a deathbed and Anushka is crying. That sort of photo was generated, and it was posted by Rohit Sharma fan. Now, such ugly stuff. If the player sees this, will the player actually appreciate it? I mean, he's a Rohit Sharma fan, so assuming Rohit Sharma sees it, he, she,
No.
whoever it is, they'll surely not appreciate it. I mean, if there were issues, how would Virat Kohli go hug Rohit Sharma once the T20 final was over in Barbados, and both would cry hugging each other? Why would that happen? So
Exactly.
these two have played cricket for at least 2 decades, and they know what's best for them. So that is where I want to leave all this at, because they know when. So when they come is not in their hands, and this is where I really respect Ashwin. You live your life on your own terms. When you come, it's not in your hands because the selectors have to select you. But once you're there, when you leave is surely in your hands. And I think the players are mature enough to know when to leave rather than us asking them to leave. So, this hashtag retire ho jao Kohli, retire ho jao Rohit should all stop, because there is an important tournament in about 40 days' time.
Yeah, and talking about Sagar's display name there, right? Yeah, it's humorous, by the way. So any
Yeah,
Yeah,
viewers
man.
watching this,
no, no, I
it's
mean,
it's humorous. We
it's
know where
just pun
Sagar comes
intended,
from.
by the way.
Yes,
It's
yes.
just
No, but
expressing our
Roko doesn't
feelings.
necessarily mean those two players. It can be anything. It's just a
Yeah,
abbreviation
It
of
Roko
it
ko
could,
Roko.
what
yeah,
Stop.
Roko
it
ko
could
Roko.
also mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it could also mean Co for Constas and Ro for what?
Rover. But see, I mean, to be very
Hindi
honest, I
Ro.
mean, just 30 seconds more. I mean, there is too much of social media which is happening in the Indian cricket team as well. And I feel, see, social media is a double-edged sword. It's not that only you get to learn bad things or new things. I mean, you should know what to take from social media and what to not take from social media. What I feel is there is too much of this going in and around Team India. To be honest, everyone is just around to gain some brownie points and just elate their social media careers by posting some funny stuff about each and everything what's happening. I mean, earlier this was not a part of the Indian cricket team, but unfortunately, social media has become an what I can say a part of Indian cricket team now that should not be there in the first place. Okay, and whatever Rohit said or whatever Kohli will do or whatever they do, since they know their best. They have played this sport for around 20 years. They respect the sports. They also respect the sentiments of fans. Okay, but then one critical point which we need to understand is, as Amay was telling, that there is no one whom Rohit can hand over the team to, or there should be a proper handover. But for this, I would say that the selectors and the board is responsible. Okay, they should understand that at the age of when Kohli and Rohit were at their late 30s, they should have known this fact that we need to create backups for both of them, be it batting or be it captaincy. That has not happened. Point number two, coming to bowling as well. Apart from Bumrah and Shami, we have no other bowlers whom we can bank on or tank on to win the series. Okay, spinners we have like Kuldeep Yadav or Chahal or Ravi Bishnoi or more spinners coming up. Okay, the spin department is absolutely sorted, I would say, for the next a decade or so. But when it comes to fast bowling, we need to think beyond Bumrah and Shami as well. It is high time because Shami is obviously in his last few years of cricket. Bumrah, with the kind of workload he has, he won't be playing each and every series. So we
I think it's
need
a problem
also,
with the
yeah,
Dravid management, right? That they
absolutely.
focus too much on the World Cup that was in their hands.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
you can't
That's right.
fault them, right? You didn't have an
Correct.
ICC
No, no,
board
no,
Absolutely.
under so
Yeah.
absolutely
much
not.
pressure.
Absolutely not. But then
And
we need a
and they
long-term
got
planning for
away with
this.
and they got away with not much overseas tests. They just had to face South Africa twice
South
in their
Africa, yeah.
tenure.
Twice in,
Correct.
And
yeah.
they
Yeah.
won once, they lost once.
Yes.
So at
Yes.
home they won England because of Jurel and Sarfraz
Akash,
and
Akshar.
Akashdeep, Akshay Patel and others. So they didn't have to look at a lot of things. So it's currently on this management to develop backups. And Rahul Dravid at the NCA is completely different to, I think Vikram Rathore is going to come at NCA once VS Lakshman gives up the tenure. So it is remained to be seen how 8 overs are handled. It's a complete chain. Once that chain
Correct.
is broken due to COVID and other things and World Cups, and India's FTP is so pathetic that when they should play ODIs, they play T20Is. When they should play T20Is, they play ODIs for no reason. So
Yeah, absolutely agreed.
it is that sort of a scheduling, but current FTP is fabulous that you can develop the T20 side. You have five T20s. Sorry, yeah, you have five T20s. You go to Australia and play three T20s. You come with South Africa, play three T20s. So at home and away, you're playing enough T20s before the 2026 World Cup, and that gives you enough cushion. But when it was Rohit and Dravid's time, there was no enough time. That's why they had to select Surya into the ODI squad because they felt he could be an X factor. I mean, he could keep on going about this, but yeah, that's the problem. We
No,
don't
all
have
good
enough
points.
pace
Yeah.
backups.
Yeah, all good points, Pranav. I think we'll have to wind up now, in the scheme of things that we have right now. Tomorrow looks exciting. Um, a part a part of me is little sad that Virat Kohli has probably played his last test innings on the Australian soil. It's not done too bad in Australia, if you ask me. It was unfortunate that he had to miss 3 tests last series, out of his personal emergency, and then this series,
But that came good for India.
his 2000, yeah, his 2004 14 nightmare in England has resurfaced again this series. So it's slightly unfortunate, and as a Indian cricket fan, I do feel a little sad that that Virat Kohli in Australia will not be seen anymore. But part of me is also a little happy that we don't have to see him edging it again to the slips or to the gully again thereafter. So
You never know. There is an England tour after this. He might just stick
it,
around for another
y-
five test
yeah, but not in
matches.
Australia. Not getting up 5 a.m. in the morning, anticipating something, and then the only good
That's
thing
a
that you see at 5 a.m.
that's a
is
home
chai or
tour for
coffee.
him, no?
Yeah,
Second
that's
home tour.
yeah.
Second home tour
So
for him.
so anyway, so tomorrow looks good.
Yeah.
Somewhere even 150 looks like a tough target for the Aussies, but we are hopeful that our batting, the remaining batting, uh, is able to contribute 60 to 70 vital runs, and also buy some time to deteriorate the pitch a little bit more. Most likely, the game is over tomorrow. The BGT is over tomorrow, either in 2-all or 3-1. 2-all. 2-all it is. Shashank
100%. It
Dada,
is
any
going to be
closing
2-1.
comments? Yeah.
Acha, I thought you were doing 3-1. Let's get. We'll see the other finger.
3-1. Okay. Okay, we'll
Two
see.
two
We'll
two
see what
two
happens. 2-2, 2-2,
two two.
2-2.
It's 2-2.
Yes.
2-2. Yes, for
Yeah.
sure.
You should
And
actually
and
put this
I
as a thumbnail.
Yeah, I have a ray of hope as well because of the kind of bowling the Indians did despite Bumrah not around. So hopefully Bumrah is back and does something like Mitchell
Yeah.
Johnson did in 2013. He's able to take more wickets. I mean, he's already taken I think 32 wickets, but
I mean, let's forget that
I hope,
example,
I
Notts
hope, I hope.
2021. That's the
Yes,
only
yes,
example that we have to remember.
yes. I hope. Hope is a good thing, like we say always.
Yeah.
And let's see you tomorrow with happier faces. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yes, we are
gentlemen.
going to the
Have a good day. Bye
finals.
bye.
Yes. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.